So we're going to differentiate the things between style and knowledge, right? How they're not the same at all. Your style is based on your knowledge, right? So your style can only go as far as you understand things. If you don't understand things, your style can only go so far. You can only draw things pretty based on how much you actually understand how to draw those pretty things. So your knowledge, or your foundations in this case, are going to be challenged right now. You're going to have to ask yourself over and over and over, wow, do I really know how to draw this, or am I copying a style? Okay, so let's start with the most basic thing. Like the first test of any single artist in general, if you want to draw for a foundation, step one should be really easy. It's just basic shapes, right? We're going to draw circles. We're going to do triangles. We're going to do squares and every variation of them. Squished up ones, long ones, short ones, little ones, big ones. We just draw every single basic shape. We should be a master at this. This should not cause you issues. You should not be worrying so much about your circles being circly. Like, practice your circles, because your circles are crucial from going on. So first step is being able to draw basic shapes in a clean way, right? Without forcing it. So not going like, no. You should be able to just sketch them out. Okay? Dexterity with your pen or whatever you choose to draw with is going to be very important as well. So, alongside with everything that we're drawing, you need to have dexterity, and that's your drawing skill. Drawing ability with your hand, like how well do you know how to use your materials? Drawing skills. Okay, so this doesn't have anything to do with how good you draw. This is how well you manage your art material. How well can you draw with your pencil? How do you know how to do you know how to use your pen to its max extent by using different pressure points and understanding how those work? Understanding how cross-hatching works with pen, how shading would work with pencil, how you can get little thick to thin lines really easy with each one of the materials, stuff like that. Little things like that are the ways that you manipulate your tool to be able to get what you need. So these 3 points are going to be talked about today. In this step one, focus on getting your shapes to be what you want them to be. Don't just draw a bunch of shapes and just do this. That doesn't do anything for you. Right? No, just don't do that. If you're drawing, focus. Be like, okay, we're going to make circles. All right, let's draw a line. Connect the circle, connect the circles, connect the circles, connect the circles. Cool. I missed one right there. So go in and fix it. Cool. It doesn't matter if it gets messy. Now try doing them this way. Circle, circle, circle. Doing exercises like this eventually turns into this. Like that is an example of something that would be a cylinder. And then you overlap the circles to get that depth that you need. Or you only draw one side of them, so you get cylinders, right? So this translates into this. The ones going up and down translate into up and down. Right? So this, just overlapping them and then squishing them together, is going to give you foreshortening. So understanding your basic shapes and paying attention to how you draw them in different directions with different widths, right? This all leads to your basic shape knowledge. This leads to your basic understanding of perspective. So learning step one of just actually learning your basic shapes is very, very important. Learning how to draw a box and then connecting those points essentially teaches you how to draw something in perspective, right? This is isometric perspective. This is perfect perspective in the way that that's the way that I see it, right? There's two types of perspectives. There's the way that you can go and add yourself a perspective plane, and you can do your like grinds, and you can do your perspective points and vanishing points and follow those lines back, stuff like that. That's one way to do it, right? This is normally used for environmental stuff, for shots or establishing or anything that's going to require a big landscape. I don't like doing this for characters because characters tend to look flat whenever you draw them like this. I personally just like to draw my shapes, give them the perspective I feel like would be ideal, and normally it becomes right in the middle so that half of it goes up, half of it goes down, giving my character a lot of depth, right? So it gives it a lot of depth by giving two breaks in perspective. And then that allows me to be able to create more interesting shapes. But in order for me to be able to even get to the point where I do this, I need to be able to identify that this is just essentially two little spheres and then cylinders. Right? So all these are these, just going in perspective. So understanding your basic shape is step one. So all this, like up to here, like understanding this is step one. These are just examples of other stuff. So this is step one of your route to understanding where you stand and where you should focus on your foundations. Right. Step two is understanding that these shapes are three-dimensional shape. So this is where I normally lose a lot of people because this is the hard part and this is the part that takes time, right? But I'm going to explain it to you guys in the way that made sense to me, which is not going to be so hard. All you're going to focus on is drawing a circle inside of a circle. This is going to be circle inside a circle. So if you can manage to draw this, which should be easy because you practiced all your things, you mastered this step of drawing basic shapes at first. So now you're going to take this and you're going to start adding a circle inside of a circle. What does this do? Being able to draw a circle inside of a circle starts opening up your way to creating depth within your shapes. Okay? It gets you used to drawing the front and the back of your shape in one single motion. Whenever you draw this, it's a flat shape. With the moment that you add another shape inside, now you have a round shape that maybe has two poles, right? You can maybe map out things on this side and you'll know when this and this side. So now you can connect them going around. Understanding where mapping points fall is essentially your map to how to use those elements to create cool different things. Let's take this example, for example. We just have this and we just drew a circle inside of a circle, choosing 2 points. We can then draw another hemisphere that intersects that. And now we have an upper eyelid for your eye. Eyes are spheres. Eyes Also mouths. Mouths are the same way, right? You draw a shape, you can cut it up and down, left and right. Just start coming up with a bunch of hemispheres. Choose 2 of them and draw your mouth inside. Your shapes in your face go around the circular object, right? Your head in general, we normally break it down as a sphere. So things like the jaw and stuff like that are very easy, or the ears, because all you got to do is find one of them, draw your shape to the other one, and then connect them to wherever you want your chin to be. And you have a face. You have the jaw. Now, this could also be the other view. So imagine that you wanted to draw this from the back, right? That's essentially your back view. Because you already drew the shape, now it's easy to just visualize it in the opposite way. So understanding how to draw a circle inside of a circle and do exercises like these, where you subdivide them into different shapes, is what allows you to draw things like this. So that is essentially the step 2 to creating your shape. Now, you can practice with a circle. The circle is the easiest one to play with. The boxes and stuff like that become a little bit harder. But you have to draw a box and another box and then connect the edges. Okay? And then you can go in and go around your shape just like you did with your circle. So a box into another box, connect the edges. You can change it and make one box smaller, one box bigger, and you start getting more complicated shapes. Choose the middle point for both of them, draw a line. And then you can start drawing through your shape as well as easy as you did with your sphere. So instead of a circle and a circle, it's a box and a box. Cylinders are just circles connected by a lot of different circles. Okay, so that's a cylinder. That one's really easy too. That's another circle inside of a circle. And then what do you have, like pyramids? So it's a triangle. I guess you could do another triangle connected. Is that 4 points? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, a triangle, and then connect the triangle to the base. Yeah. So you connect it right here because they have to be connected like a little point. So that is essentially how you come up with your very basic 3-dimensional shapes, right? That is how you begin to visualize the 3-dimensionality of an element by drawing 2 of the same shape, a box and a box, a circle inside a circle, circles connected by lines, or 2 points connected. That actually works. That we just came up with that shit right now. That's actually kind of cool. So that is essentially how you do it. And if you take it to step 2. Now, a lot of people will skip this step thinking that they understand it. A lot of people skip this is one of the most important steps that you need to learn. Before you start making things look pretty, you need to understand how to visualize these shapes, right? So step 2 is essentially just being able to see or recreate elements in a space of 3-dimensionality. Not be perfect at it, not have perfect 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 point perspective. It's more about just understanding how to create an element with depth. Okay, we're not worrying about making this into eyes right now. Don't worry about all this stuff that I gave examples of. Those are just examples. Worry about doing these exercises and mastering that element of it. So then we move on to step 3. Step 3 is understanding your subdivisions, right? So how to subdivide an element a little bit more complex. So now instead of drawing a circle inside a circle, which we have been doing, you're going to draw that, but you're only going to draw one side. You're going to visualize the other side, but you're not going to draw the other side anymore, right? You can think about it, but you're not going to draw it. And then in this way, you're going to clean up your drawing so that you can start using these as little mapping points. So what you end up with is a situation where you end up with shapes like these. Right? These essentially give you all the grid marks that you need for the side of your face, for your nose, for your eyes, mouth, hairline, everything for a simple cartoon. At this point, just being able to subdivide it a couple times gives you the ability to map out your elements in a bunch of different perspectives because now you know where they fall, right? You can just take this simple shape. You can even simplify it to the most extreme and just draw one line going across, one line going like that. Draw 2 little dots and draw a happy face. Okay? Now I want you to take that same mapping points and draw them in every perspective. Okay? I want you to take this simple exercise and I want you to rotate a character's face, not with detail. Don't worry about details. Don't worry about making it look cool. Understand where you move it first and then worry about making things cool, right? Understand how to manipulate your shape before you decide to add detail, because you can't draw something with detail on a very complex body part like a human structure that has a bunch of different elements, right? How do you expect to draw something that is as complex as the human body with all the different parts and bodies and squishy parts and movable parts and, recessed parts and hard surfaces and stuff like that? How do you expect to draw this when you can't draw that? Right? So you gotta crawl before you can walk. But most people go from crawling to running. And the reason that they can't figure out things like this, well, of course you're not going to be able to figure out how to turn a head with a lot of detail in perspective if you don't have the ability to move an element like this in perspective, right? That's just silly. Like, yeah, I understand that you might be copying someone's style or, you learn how to do that, by somebody else's way of doing it. But copying someone and understanding what they're drawing is 2 different things, right? So if you want to get to the point where you understand this more, you can do the same exercise, right? Draw a face, but now identify where the ears are. So identify where the ears would fall, and then a chin. If you understand your chin, that goes at the bottom of that line, and your 2 ears, you can just connect them. And then work on your elements from different views. So that's from the back. That's my ear, that's my chin. That is where my jaw would connect. Right? And that's where my neck would come in. So little exercises like this are what help you do that. right? So, oh, this triangle thing is just a grip. It's just a pencil grip. I got it at a store. I'm working on sketch kits for you guys though. Like I'm sourcing out like some cool sketch pouches. I found some that look like little piece of bread. And then I want to draw, I want to come up with like little sketch pouches. I have like a little watercolor kit that's like a little wooden box that has like 4 little slots. I have that. I have little watercolor brushes that I'm going to be selling with the kit. I'm going to have little grippies because you guys seem to really like the grips. And then I'll have like a Post-its, some sticky notes because those are really cool. And they're like little baby sketchbooks. I love carrying some of those. And maybe a little sketchbook or something. So that'll be what's in the kit. I'll add a pencil in there. I know people that follow me understand I don't draw with pencil, but I can't help but put little cute things into things. And there's like little kitty highlighters that I found. Little kitty ones that have like pastel colors. I want to try them out so badly. So I'm going to probably put something like that together and then just sell it as a little sketch kit for you guys, for whoever wants to actually get like the materials that I use. So you guys can draw along. Anyways, that's just my little sketch kit idea. Beep. Let's go back to actual steps though. Like, enough promotion, Rod. Stop it. Stop trying to make money, Rod. Stop it. Anyways, step 3 is understanding that you need to be able to map out your elements. Practicing these exercises is crucial if you are going to be going into character design. Character design is literally the concept of being able to move a character and develop them in any way, shape, or fashion that you need them. So you need to be able to understand how to rotate a face in space, right? You need to understand the concept of being able to move elements in different planes and different perspectives and different angles. So that is just something that's going to be absolutely crucial when it comes down to character design. So you need to understand that drawing characters in space is going to be a very big component of that. Overlaps, foreshortening, concepts like that are going to be very important. And that is the first step into getting to that sort of understanding of a topic or a shape. Let's see, where would the other one go? Understanding how shapes go around is how you give characters clothing, right? Accessories, masks, armor, all that stuff comes from understanding that there's surfaces that you have to draw into, right? They're going around surfaces. Everything has depth. Nothing's just a line. Like when you really think about it, this is the point where you stop thinking about lines and you start thinking about shapes. So it starts turning into more of a sculpture if you think about it like that. Right? You end up having your shape, you end up having both sides of it, and then you end up cutting into your shape to be able to figure out where your elements are going to go. You end up cutting, moving, manipulating these shapes, these grid marks or whatever you call them, to be able to get to the desired outcome of your design. Little by little, you end up manipulating these shapes more like you would like plaster than it is line work. And it feels like that at some point. It feels like you can just pull things, move things, manipulate them a little bit more in whatever direction you feel like. And just with a little bit of practice, you'll end up being able to take anything like a basic, like a little beanbag, and then just make that into absolutely anything you feel like. be able to map out both sides, so you can draw little things like legs a little bit easier. You can set a section for your face by creating a little mask. And then it just makes things a little bit easier when you can map out where both arms are going to come out from, where the body sections are going to be differentiated from the rest of the body, stuff like that. Reminds me of the 1950s Disney style. Oh, so like, is that the 1950s? Is like the one that had like the eyes like this, right? And then I believe the ears are like that. And then their hands are like noodles. But they always come in a little bit high. I love the rubber hose style. Oh man, like okay, so once you learn let's go back to the lesson before I get too distracted, because I normally get distracted and then we end up losing like the complete traction of our actual lesson. And then my ADHD brain just goes like, let's draw things. Woo. So let's go back to topic. So once you have your basic exercises and you learn how to draw your faces round like this, right? And you practice and practice and practice drawing your circles inside your circles and mapping out points within them, so you get your brain used to the spacing for your ears. You get used to seeing things in one way and when you don't see the other side, like when you're drawing 3/4 views and stuff like that, right? You get used to seeing what you can and what you can't see because you're drawing through your shape. So no more will you ever have like an ear and then think, oh my God, where is my other ear? Why can't I see my ear? Or can I see my ear? Yeah, you can, a little bit right there. You won't ever have to question that again because now you have a way to measure it. Right? So that is why that's important. This is also going to be very important when it comes down to your body, because you're going to be needing to be able to map out the front and the back of your rib cage, the sides and the sides of your collarbone. You're going to have to choose your hip bones, which is just a cylinder really, with angled edges in the front, and then being able to use this same concept of a cylinder to connect the top and the bottom shape. Okay, so you use the outside to connect the shapes. That's the same knowledge that you've been using for this. And things like legs, regardless of what style you choose, even if you do choose to go with like super simple legs, it's still just cylinders going down, regardless of the level of detail that you choose to give them. Okay. It could be like, I don't know, super little leg too. It doesn't have to be like super big legs. Whee! With clothing and everything. Normally, legs originate from one spot. So once you understand where that spot is, you can draw them any way you want. Yeah, but everything is based on this concept. So understanding the front and the back of your shape, understanding how to draw through your shapes is very important. And now how to apply this to a different shape like a box. Well, when you have a box, you essentially have 1, 2, 3 squares together. connected by this point, right? So you can draw 1 square, 2 squares connected by here, 3 squares, and you'll have essentially what it is, a cube. You can draw through your shape to connect them all and be able to get it, right? So draw 1 square, choose a point where you want the other squares to connect. If you want the top, choose that side and draw a square there connected to that line, and then just figure out what the last square is. It doesn't have to be directly down. You can have it be an off shape if you want, and then close them up. And now you have a boxy shape in perspective, right? So if you want to see the bottom, choose a bottom point. Draw a box underneath. Oh, is it really, really, really parallel to each other? Well, I guess we don't really need to draw the other sides, but let's do it anyways because we can. Because we're going to practice this stuff, right? That is what we're doing. We don't do it to cheat ourselves out of work. We do it so that we have to practice the hard things. So let's draw a square like this. Choose a side. Let's choose this side. We'll draw a box underneath this one and then close it out with the other box. Draw through your shape and you have yourself a cube. It's actually really simple to be able to think about it like that. Right? Essentially, you're just trying to see either the top or the bottom of the box. So you decide your flat side could be the side of it if you want. Now, if you wanted to see the bottom, I would just draw a box on the bottom and close off my shape. If I wanted to see a box from the top, I would draw my first shape, any of them, and then draw a box on top, and then close off my shape. And then you see the top. It's simpler than people think. It really is. It really is. It's not that complicated to draw a box. Now, learning how to draw through it is a little bit more hard, right? So learning how to draw it is essentially not that hard. It's just a box inside of a box and connect the dots, right? Or you do the dot thing with the boxes on the side if you want to figure out like an exact perspective. But the tougher part is learning how to subdivide this because it gets really messy really quickly. So understanding how to subdivide a simple flat shape is very important, and I'm going to give you guys a simple trick to do it. So if you want to find the middle point of any single shape, regardless of how wide, how thick it is, all you got to do is really split it in half and trace in the middle. Split it in half and trace in the middle. If you want to find the middle part of a random shape like this, split it in half and trace in the middle. It works both ways. And you can easily find the midpoint of elements by doing that. So if you have something that goes into the distance, let's say like buildings and stuff like that, and you want them all in a row, like in a big row, right? You want all your buildings in that row. You're going to take your first shape. You're going to, decorate it, do whatever the hell you want. And then you're going to split that in half, find the middle of it, right? And then you can build this up, create all your lines. And then as you go out and building your other buildings, all you got to do is if you want to find this exact same size building, you go from here to the middle until it connects to that line. And then that's going to be the next one. Then you do the same thing, split it, find the middle, go from the bottom edge all the way through the middle until it connects to the line. And then you have the other one, the middle, through the middle line. And you can do that infinitely until you get all the desired distance that you want. So these are like drafting, like like little tricks and stuff like that, they're meant for like buildings and drawing like, things like lampposts that are supposed to be spaced out the same throughout the whole thing, stuff like that. So these little tricks are very convenient to know, especially when you have very difficult things that you need to divide in half. For example, for me, it helps me when I'm drawing 3/4 faces, right? And I'm drawing my face and I need to know exactly where the middle part of that is. I know that that's going to be where my nose is because my nose falls directly on that and my chin falls directly on that line. Everything else has little curvatures and stuff like that. So I know my nose is going to come out of there. I know my chin is going to be right there. And everything else is going to fall within the parameters of those points. So just knowing exactly where the middle part in my face is gave me a lot of ability and a lot of knowledge just to be able to know where to put my things right. And then being able to draw through my shape gives me the ability to draw things like eyes a little bit better because I just draw my eyeball and then I draw my hemispheres. So both sides of the face aren't really that challenging anymore. My eyebrows go around my head. And just like that, I created a nice, simple character shape, like head, accurately, and by just literally finding that middle point properly. So that is the application that you would use that for. So that is step number 3. Step number 3 is the one that everybody skips. This is the most crucial one, apparently, though. Like, if you don't understand this, this is important. This is where you should spend most of your time right now if you are struggling with eyes or mouths or heads or viewpoints or perspective. Like drawing things in perspective is not really hard, but visualizing things in perspective is. Right? You being able to visualize something in perspective is not indicative of you actually knowing how to draw perspective. It's something you have to get your brain used to because our brain goes to the most simple concepts in mind. Like whenever you're trying to like draw anything, it goes to simplicity. It doesn't go to how can we make this cooler or more enhanced. It normally goes to how can I do this easier? Sketchbook page. So we're like 3/4 of the way there. So we've been on for, I have no idea how long already, maybe I think it's been 30, 40 minutes maybe. So once you get to step 3 and you memorize that, then step 4 is where you start putting your knowledge into test. Step 4 introduces imagination. Right? Imagination and just your mental library in general. So once you understand basic shapes, right? Once you understand the whole concept of basic shapes, now you get to choose what you do with those basic shapes. Okay? All those basic shapes that you draw can turn into absolutely anything you want. But in order to be able to draw things that are appealing, you need to be able to draw things that you understand. So, for example, if you were asked to draw an elephant and you did not know how to draw an elephant, you would probably look at a picture of an elephant to know how to draw an elephant, right? So why do people don't look at pictures and reference whenever they're drawing humans? Especially if you don't know how to draw a human yet. You need reference. You need to build up that imagination. You need to be able to, if you want to draw somebody with baggy clothes, you need to understand how a person with baggy clothes looks, right? Like how far down do their clothes go? Where do all the folds and stuff like that happen in the body? Like stuff like that. So you need to understand how baggy clothes work in order to be able to draw baggy clothes. That comes from your imagination. That comes from your life experiences. Okay? Knowing how to draw, let's say, shorts is different than learning how to draw pants. Learning how to draw tennis shoes is very different than learning how to draw, I don't know, sandals. But you won't be able to distinguish these things by any means necessary if you don't go out and live life and actually see and draw from life. It's not life drawing in the sense that you have to go draw naked people, but going out and actually experiencing life is what's going to give you the ability to actually draw it. It's very rare that you see people that are very successful in the field of art that don't have very interesting lives. It's just something that happens when you discover that you need to live life to be able to actually draw it, right? You can't give life to something in the form of imaginative creation if you have no imagination to base it off of. So your imagination is going to play a huge role when it comes down to your actual designs. So instead of staying home all day, go out. Yeah, it's uncomfortable sometimes. It's uncomfortable to go out and talk to people and be in public and have to deal with society and blah, blah, blah. Bring a sketchbook with you. Draw some people. Have fun. Become the center of attention for once. Be the pretty girl at the party. Literally, go bring your sketchbook anywhere. Bring a Post-it note. Bring a bag of Post-its and then just draw everything you see in sight. Right? Get a little Post-it package. And then you're going to draw everything from plants to pots to everything that you see around you. You're going to draw every tree and you're going to just throw it away. That's your challenge this week, right? You're going to grab a pack of Post-its. You're going to draw everything you see on them and you're going to let it go. You're just going to grab it, draw it. You're going to draw it. And then you're going to let it go, throw it away. What that's going to do, it's going to get you in the habit of not getting attached to every drawing that you do, right? Every drawing you do is not going to be a masterpiece. Most of the drawings that you do will cause you to cringe because you'll realize that there is something off from your drawing abilities. That's good. That tells you where your weaknesses are. If you find that you can't draw a vase, it's probably because you just don't see, you haven't practiced your ovals and your cylinders enough, right? If you're having problem with drawing plants and textures really quick, then your penmanship, you need to practice your zigzag shapes, your C curves, right? Your thick to thins, things like that. You need to practice your cross hatching. Go out and draw different blades of grass. See which type of grass blades look better for you, right? There's different ways to draw plants. I like to do very gestural plants in which I just like to draw the very basic essence of them and let your eye figure out what type of plant it is. So I learned this again from architectural books. Architects use this sort of measure to draw plants all the time. They do little geometric shapes combined with organic shapes that overlap. And that is how you get really cool trees from nothing. Little bird. So essentially, your imagination is what's going to take this and turn that into that. Could turn that into more like, some of you guys like really dark and grimy stuff. Right? Whatever you decide that you're going to go with, that is going to be what that turns into. It can be a basketball, baseball, whatever. And then that could turn into, like, I don't know, a little chibi faced sticker. If you like baseball, like, a lot, like, yay. Your imagination is the only thing that's going to stop you from being able to do that once you learn how to map things out. Now, your knowledge of anatomy is going to limit you a lot too. Like, you can't draw noses if you don't really know how to draw noses, right? You're not going to be able to know how to draw eyes if you don't take the time to learn how to draw eyes. So playing around with anatomy and the placement of your anatomy is going to be crucial at this step too. So not alongside your imagination, you need to actually develop your anatomy skills. So you need to put all that anatomy knowledge so that you can take something as basic as a cone or a cylinder for hip bones and a sphere for a rib cage and turn that into a working anatomy set that helps you map out your bodies. Okay? So knowing the difference between this being a rib cage and then adding actual structure to it is something that's going to take a while. This doesn't come overnight, right? But at least you know where the positioning is, so you can start easy with basic shapes and then get used to it. Since the placement isn't going to change, the placement's the same, right? You will develop the ability to draw anatomy on top of proper placement as you learn more anatomy. But you won't have to change the way you draw, right? You won't have to change like where you place things. You already know where to place things. You're just understanding what else you can place in those places. So that is the difference between somebody that understands anatomy and a person that understands just shapes. It's a big difference, and understanding that is what allows you to be able to move your character better. Now, not saying that you can't move your character if you don't know that. All you really need to know is where things fall, like your arms and your hip bones, in order to come up with really cool concepts, right? You don't really need to know exactly how to draw an arm to know that the arm goes in that one spot. But understanding it just gives you another level of ability to play with the concept. And it gives you better poses down the line. So it's only going to improve your skill instead of, like having to change everything you know about drawing just because now you want to add realism or anatomy. And now, like, the cartoony system that you chose did not work, or the way that you see it just has to change completely, and then it's like redefining everything from scratch again. Well, as we get closer to finishing this sketchbook, well, not this sketchbook, but this sketchbook page for today, I want to thank you guys for being my sketch buddies today. I know you guys have a big amount of people that you guys could be following and taking your time with and chilling with, but you guys chose to be with me. So I appreciate every single one of you guys that stayed around. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys learned a little bit. If you guys did learn and you guys want to help support, there are books that I have for sale that you guys can purchase through the links in my shop. That's in the link in my bio. Now, if you guys do decide that you guys want to purchase one of my books, I recommend that you guys draw all over them. There are a bunch of sketchbooks that have a bunch of lessons like this, right? It's 100-page sketchbooks that have multiple collections of just drawings from animals to cute little silly things and stuff like that, or everything in between. So if you guys do like stuff like this, I recommend you guys, buy them, get them, draw all over them, use them as reference tools, use them to kill your art block. That is why they are called art block. I also have a pinup book in case you guys like sexy ladies instead of sexy ladies. There's a pinup book that I have that has over 60 or 70 pages or something like that, just chock full of pinups. So if you guys like sexy ladies and you guys like the way that I draw, you guys will probably absolutely love my pinup book. That one's going to go for print soon. It's taken a while for me to upload it to Amazon, but it should be on print soon. And the big book of silly animals is coming out very soon as well. Just got delayed a little bit because I'm moving into my new apartment and setting everything up. But the big book of silly, derpy animals is coming. And that one is hilarious. That's like 100 pages of just derpy, sketchy animals from digital, traditional, things that I've done for t-shirt companies. And it's all going to be for you guys to love and laugh and laugh and love. Let's see. Should I be drawing on something? Probably. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to have that right there. And that means that my hand has to be right here. My hand has to be supporting that. Boom, boom. And then my arm connects to my collarbone right here. So I know whatever my arm does, it has to connect back to that point. And just like that. Cool. Cool, easy, fun pose. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being my sketch buddies. We are at the end of our page. And but always, I leave a little space just to make sure I leave you guys with a nice message, especially starting off this week. I want you guys to understand that today is going to be the start of your new start. If you guys have a project you guys are looking to get started, please do so with my approval. Go for it. Show me. Get myself. Like, if you guys want an accountability buddy, please let me know. I will be more than happy to keep you guys on track. That's what I do for a lot of people. More than happy to do it for you guys as well. So if you guys do feel like you need someone to be on your butts, just send me a message on Instagram. Tell me what you're doing, and then I'll keep an eye on you guys and check in on you guys whenever I can. So go out, do something for yourselves that's going to improve your career. Be it finish your portfolio piece, finish some freelance work that you've been doing. Take the time to design a new logo, avatar for yourself so you guys can get a reinvented look for your art. Or two, do that final project that you've been wanting to do forever, but you have not even gotten a chance to put 15 minutes into. Take 15 minutes of your life today and do that for yourself. And outside of that, guys, I want you guys to say the 4 words that we normally say at the end of our stream. And I want to see if we have any recurring people here that know what we say. I want you guys to repeat. There you go. I want you guys to love a little, go live a little, go laugh a little, and go draw a lot. Have a wonderful day, everybody.